Hello ratbags, it's Jade. Welcome to a special Valheim video. Today, the first Mistlands gameplay reveal. A very tiny little clip, all part of a Fireside chat with the devs celebrating 1 year of Valheim and giving a little insight into how the game has been made so far and what their plans are going forward. Going to give you the key notes from this and then obviously go and watch it for yourself. And oh my gosh, a brand new armor set hidden sneakily in the background. Let's go. Please leave a like if you want to see more Valheim content and let's check it all out. So they did this a while ago and it was great hearing about how they process certain stuff and were making the game. But now we've got another one and it's a great listen. It talks about the kind of start of Valheim, how it started off as a prototype, how it evolved from an MMO to the co-op single player game it is now, and it's filled with their journey so far. At the start they spoke about how they hadn't really celebrated the success of Valheim yet. Even still, a year afterwards, because of COVID, because of the situation with the game blowing up and having to work so hard on obviously bugs and stuff, they really haven't had time to really still actually take in the success of a game that's nearly sold 9, maybe even 10 million copies. Richard, Grim and Josephine spoke about this all, and Richard spoke about the beginnings when it was known as JADE. Now I've covered a bunch of this stuff in the past. I've shown you guys the original prototype, or the one that you could at least download before Valheim became a proper game on its own, and it's great to see Richard's take on it all. Basically it was a hobby project and he kind of realised that it was good. He got some people to come and test it and thought, you know what, I could make a proper game out of this. And that's when he quit his job, started working on it pretty much on his own, and eventually got help from Henrik and they started up the company properly together. So I love listening to all this stuff, but let's face it, you want to know about the actual gameplay, the Mistlands and the mountains content and that new arm set. So I'll cover some more of this stuff just afterwards. So maybe gameplay is a little bit of a stretch, but we do get to see at least a nice panning shot of the actual game. And this is the Mistlands now. So this was what the original Mistlands looked like, but the devs are really keen to point out that it's evolved and changed and they haven't really had a clear vision of what it could be until a little while ago. That's because some of the other biomes were kind of set. We know what we're going to get when we get to the Ashlands. It's going to be fire and brimstone and kind of hell. We know we're going to go to the deep north. It's going to be cold and chilly and lots of snow and icebergs. But the Mistlands offered an opportunity for them to do something a bit more different, and that's why it's also taken a bit longer to finalise. They want the mechanics of this update to be something unique and different as well. They don't want to just rinse and repeat what they've already done. They want it to be something fresh and something that players might not be used to. Bit of a stretch to say maybe it's gameplay, as we only get to see 2 tiny little clips. But yeah, at least it's something. And it is great, it is looking good. So it is going to be misty. We know it's going to have these mad cliffs and these sharp razor-like crystalline edges. But we still don't know enough about it, and clearly it's going to be still some time before this is released. It could be a good few months, maybe even longer. But for sure, they do want you to know that it will contain the same progression. You will go to this biome, explore, gather resources, and then get stronger to take on the enemies and finally some sort of boss. They have split the team slightly, so some of them are working on little feature content updates, some are working on stuff like the caves, and others are working on the Mistlands. Here in the other little clip we see we're coming onto it from the water, and the boat also looks pretty different. It looks like it's got more paneling and details on the sides of it, so it looks like it's had a bit of a revamp. So yeah, it definitely looks like the Mistlands is going to be expanded or quite big and quite foreboding, even if you're hitting it from the sea. So you're going to have to be careful where you actually take your ship in case it gets damaged through the mists on the rocks. But that has taken time to evolve. They've gone from working with just a solo dev to just literally 3 people to now 10. And so it means a lot more directions got to take place, a lot more checking over stuff and coming to agreement that it's going to suit and fit what they need. And that's why sometimes it's taken a bit too long. And I do think that Richards probably hasn't had that much experience in that kind of role in the past. And as I've stated many times, the success meant they had to blow up the game a bit more and make every update be a little bit more special, or they could have the time to actually do some of the ideas that they maybe wouldn't have had time to do if they hadn't had such a success. So let's take a look at that new armor set. What is it made out of? Is it made out of maybe the scales of the sea serpent creature? Is it going to be something we get maybe from the mountains and the drakes? Is it just dyed cloth? Is it a silver chainmail? At first glance, I thought there was actually glowing eyes in here, so I thought, oh, maybe it had something to do with grey dwarfs, but on second glance, I'm guessing it's just the light shining off of it, which says to me it could be a bit more metallic. Here's a slightly different shot from the video, zoomed in as well, and you get to see, obviously we've got the belt going on it, and yeah, it definitely looks like that is some sort of scales, something hanging over the rest of like the grey Under Armour. And no, I don't think it's the cloak that you got for free if you was part of the beta program back in the day, exclusively for them. It's clearly too grey for that to be, and it definitely looks a bit more different. And then if we zoom in on the actual boots, or the bottom half of it as well, again, it looks a bit more furry. So it's definitely looking like it could be something to do with fur. That would make most sense for maybe the mountains biome. And I'm presuming this is coming as part of that mountains biome update rather than the Mistlands. Of course, that wasn't the only thing teased. There's a brand new rug. They're literally sitting on top of a brand new style rug. Now, maybe it's made out of locks and maybe it's been dyed, or it just looks a bit different, but it does look a bit darker than the lockses are, in my opinion. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think it could be. I did comb through the rest of the little clips and footage, but I couldn't really see anything else brand new. If there's something I missed, do absolutely let me know though. So now let's cover some of the other stuff they spoke about. Balance is important to them. They don't want the game to have too much content and too much stuff that makes it overcomplicated. They want the game to be as simple as it can be. Think Nintendo, that kind of level where the games aren't overly done. They do realise and recognise that mods and other stuff can add a whole bunch of stuff to it, and that's great, but it's not something they're necessarily always going to be thinking about implementing. They don't necessarily want it to have a deep skill system or some other deep mechanics, because they just want it to keep it simple. They went through the process of developing the root armor, or basically it was to add a troll-like creature to the swamps to make it a bit more dangerous than it already is, or something a bit bigger. And that's where they came up with the idea of the abomination. And then eventually they decided they can make some sort of armor as a reward for the new creature. Some of their high points throughout the year have been obviously the reception, but obviously more to do with other little things. Like the animated trailer was really cool for them to work on, and then obviously meeting the Queen of Sweden, apparently, or the Princess of Sweden, that was another massive highlight for them. They did speak a lot about how the team has been brought on and it was different, and it's taken some time for them to kind of get in the right way of working together maybe, or changing it up a little bit, but it is great. It means they've got more cool ideas incoming as well now, and it does mean that they're going to be able to work on multiple things at once. They didn't actually speak too much about the Mountains update, and there's still no news about when it's actually going to go live on the player test branch, which it will do first. And then they pretty much finished the video with a little pass outside. And I thought it was going to show something, like a teaser to the entranceway, you know, something here. But they don't. There's just some wolf in the thingy howling. That is it. But yeah, it's a good chat. If you love hearing about development, if you want to know more about its history and where they're going and what they've been working on and how it's all been, then absolutely give it a whole watch. It's about 27 minutes, something along those lines. I'll leave the link in the comment section as always. As soon as we get any news about that PTB with the Mountains update incoming, I will let you guys know, and fingers crossed it won't be too long now. Until next time, Ratbags, make sure you subscribe for the best in survival games news, open world RPG and guides, and I'll see you Ratbags later.